You can just admit and go live become several as well.
Facebook kaynağı konu. Hello, we will start in 2 minutes. Can you hear me? Yes. Facebook. I'm not here. Can you please type Y if you can hear me?
Yeah, I'm on. I just cannot listen.
Okay, Instagram, it's okay. We can hear. It's okay. Okay, we will start then. Okay. Hello, my name is Nazrin Iskandari. I'm a registered migration agent at Australian Portal Immigration, and I have 12 years of work experience in migration industry. Today, I'll be talking about employer-sponsored visas. To start, I will talk about the subclass 186 visa. It's called Employer Nomination Scheme visa. It's a permanent residency which allows you to live and work permanently in Australia. It has 3 streams: direct entry, temporary resident transition stream, and the labor agreement stream. To apply for the 186 visa, your occupation should be in the medium and long-term strategic list, and you need to have a competent English and be under 45 years of age when you apply for this visa. You also need to have 3 years of full-time relevant work experience and a positive skill assessment for the direct entry. Some of the occupations, they need a license or registration or membership to work in Australia. If your occupation is one of them, then you need to be eligible for this registration and membership before you apply for the visa. And you can provide the evidence during the visa application before it's granted. You can apply from overseas or you can apply in Australia. But if you're in Australia, you must be holding a substantive visa or a bridging visa A, B, or C. If you're holding a 494 or 491 visa, it should be at least 3 years from the grant date to be eligible to apply for this 186 visa. And when it's granted, it has no condition attached to it. The next employer-sponsored visa we'll be talking about is subclass 482. It's temporary skill shortage visa. This visa is a temporary visa that can be granted for up to 2, 4, or 5 years and has 3 streams: short-term stream, medium-term stream, and the labor agreement. If your occupation is in the medium and long-term list or in the ROL, regional occupation list, you can apply for the medium stream, which can be granted for up to 4 years, and it has a permanent pathway through the transition stream of the 186 visa if after you work for 3 years for the employer. But if your occupation is in the short list, you can only apply for the short-term stream. And every time that you apply for this 482 visa, it can be granted for up to 2 years. For this visa, you need IELTS overall 5. And for the short-term stream, you need to get 4.5 in each skill. And for the medium-term stream, you need 5 in each skill. There is no age limitation for this 482 visa application, but just remember, if you're planning to apply for the 186 visa, the transition stream, after 3 years of holding the 482 visa, you need to be still under 45 at the time of the 186 application. For this 482 visa application, you also need to have 2 years of relevant full-time work experience in the past 10 years. And some of the occupations, they require a skill assessment for the application, but it depends on the country of your passport. But if you have studied in Australia and you hold the relevant Australian qualification as per the ANZUSCO code, you can apply for this visa without the skill assessment, but you need to have the necessary skills, qualifications, and employment background to perform the tasks. If you're in Australia, you must be holding a visa or a bridging visa A, B, or C to apply for this visa in Australia. You also need to have arrangement for health insurance, and if you're applying for the short-term stream, you need to be a genuine temporary entrant because the short-term stream doesn't have the permanent pathway. And when the visa is granted, you can only work in your nominated occupation and only for your sponsor. The last visa that we are talking about is visa subclass 494. It's skilled employer sponsored regional visa. This is a provisional visa that will be granted for 5 years. And after you work for your employer for 3 years, you can apply for permanent residency. It has 2 streams. It's direct entry stream and labor agreement stream. Your occupation could be in either a medium and long-term list, regional list, or the short list, but the sponsoring company should be located in a regional area. Please remember that Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane, they are not considered regional area for this visa. Same as the 186 visa, you need to have competent English, be under 45 years of age, and have 3 years of full-time work experience in your nominated occupation, and have a positive skill assessment. And if you're in Australia, you need to hold a substantive visa or a bridging visa A, B, or C. And even if you're subject to Section 48 bar and you had a visa refused or cancelled in Australia, you can apply for this visa onshore. And same as the 482 visa, you can only work for your employer and in your nominated occupation. We also receive some inquiries about the sponsoring business and who can sponsor you in Australia. The employer must be actively and lawfully operating a business in Australia to sponsor you. Usually when we lodge the nomination application, we need to include some financial documents to prove that the business is operating in Australia and they are financially viable to pay you for the duration of the visa, to pay your salary. The employer, sorry, just let me stop the video. Yeah. And the employer must offer you the same working condition and payment as an Australian employee. And the offered position should be available to applicant for at least 2 years if you're applying for the 186 visa, or for the 494 visa, it should be ongoing for at least 5 years, and 482 visa for the length of the visa request. The employer must have a genuine need for your position. And if you're applying for the 494 or 482 visa, the employer must do the labor market testing. So it means that they need to show that they have tried to find an Australian employee to fill the position, but they could not. And please note that for this visa application, you must not engage in offering a benefit for sponsorship. If you are found that you're doing the sponsorship related fraud, you will get 3 years ban for applying for the visa. And there shouldn't be any adverse information about the nominator as well. For the work sponsor visa, usually the employer is responsible for the cost involved for the sponsorship and the nomination application, even for the migration agent costs. So please consider this when you are planning to apply for an employer-sponsored visa. So I'm ready for any question that you may have. I think we have received some. Livia, could you please let me know if we have any question here?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
So there are 3 questions here. Just before I go deep into this message, there's just one message saying hello from São Paulo. So from Diego, he wants to say hello.
Hello.
And Yvonne is online as well, our client.
Oh, okay.
So
hi, Yvonne.
The first question is,
yeah,
can I change my job after the visa is granted?
The answer is yes, you can change your job, but it depends on the visa subclass. If it's a 186 visa, there is no condition attached to it. So after the visa is granted, you can work in any occupation for any employer. But for the 482 visa and for the 494, you need to work for your employer in the nominated occupation. So if you want to work for another employer, you need to first be sponsored with the second employer. And when the nomination is approved, you can start working with the second employer. But before that, you cannot. Even if you lose your job, for the 482 visa, you can stay without job only for 60 days. And for the 494, only for 90 days. Then if you cannot find any other employer to sponsor you and secure a job, your visa may get canceled.
Okay. Can I go to the next question?
Yeah, sure.
There's a question here and it says, can I be sponsored as a truck driver?
Truck driver is not in any occupation list in Australia. So it's not in the medium and long-term list or the short list or regional list, but we have the DOMA list for some of their regions. So it means that as a truck driver, you may be still eligible to apply for the visa through the labor agreement stream. So it's the DOMA list. We have some DOMA lists available at the moment for truck drivers. So you need to check where the business is located, and if they are located in a regional area with a DOMA list available, then yes, you can apply as a truck driver.
Yeah, sure. There's one question on Instagram, and there's someone from the Philippines. They say hello from Philippines.
Hello from Australia.
Before I go to the last one here, let me just ask John Hughes' question. My partner has received a proposal for group leader in childcare.
Yeah.
We live in Perth and just want to know which visa will be the best for us.
It's as a group leader. For the group leader is usually only the 494 visa, because this is not in the medium and long list. It's only in the regional list. Just let me double check here. The occupation. It could be in DOMA because the group leader is in DOMA list, and also I would check here. Childcare leader, yes, it's in ROL list. For group leaders, they can apply for the 494 visa. So they need to have the skill assessment. For the skill assessment, they need at least 1 year work experience as a group leader and diploma in childcare. Then after getting the skill assessment and competent English, they can apply for the 494 visa with 3 years full-time work experience completed after the diploma.
Great, there's
No.
another question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna delete this.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be the last one. So there's a question from Mel.
Yeah.
It says, I'm currently in the 494
Mm-hmm.
under my husband's.
Yes.
Can I apply for 191 with my employment and not from my husband? It looks like she's a dependent on the 494.
She's a dependent on 494,
And
she wants to apply for the 19 visa as the main applicant.
Can
Yeah.
I apply for the 191
Mm-hmm.
with my employment and not from my husband's?
Oh, okay. So the thing is that for the 494, the husband needs to be working in the occupation with the employer for 3 years. Then they apply for the 191. If he is not meeting these requirements, so it means that he is breaching the visa condition. So it could be a problem for them. I suggest they book the appointment because we need to discuss this, because it's a visa condition problem. So we need to discuss this further.
Now I'm leaving our details here so you can book your appointment and you can speak to me. Okay. Last question, me, Livia. Last question will be, can I go to the last question?
Yeah, sure.
Can I sponsor my brother in my own business?
For the employer-sponsored visa, usually shouldn't be any relationship between the sponsoring business and the employee. And if there is a relationship, you need to prove that this employment will benefit Australian community. So it's really hard to get this one approved because there is an extra requirements for the approval.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I can ask the Mohammed. He is in Zoom. Ask him if he wants to be online. or his voice on can ask question. Just please type your.
Hi, Mohammed. Do you have any question? Because I can see that you tried to turn on your video. If you have any question, you can turn on the voice here. Just let me unmute you.
He just said that he doesn't speak English very well. He said, I'm living in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, okay.
And now I don't speak English very well. That's
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's okay. Then if you have any question, you can send us an email later.
And you can, yeah, they can just ask through chat or whatever.
Okay. Is there any other question?
sorry,
I should
they were everything. I cannot see any other questions.
Okay. Did you check the Facebook? Maybe there is some question on Facebook we can answer before we finish.
Maybe I can, let me check.
Okay.
Mohammed said, can you send me in French? Sorry, I don't
In
speak
French? Oh,
No.
sorry, in English.
They can answer some frequent asked questions.
Okay, if there isn't any other questions, maybe we can finish the live. And is there any question here?
Not just some common questions from.
I think it's. How about the regional areas and sponsorship?
Yeah, just only one on Instagram.
Oh, okay. Do you mean DAMA or just regional areas for the 494 visa? Because in the regional areas, we have visa options. It's 494 visa, which has a large occupation list. And we also have DAMA. Some of the occupations, they are not even in the occupation list. And there are some concessions available for the age, English, and this offered salary. So in regional area, you may have the 494 visa option, and even the 186 or 482, you can apply for them if you are located in a regional area. So it means that in regional area, you will have more visa options. Okay.
John,
Yes, sure.
So the same John, he was asking about childcare. So he's saying again, my partner has 5 years of working experience as education childcare, but only 1 year as a room leader. So if I understood well, it wouldn't be possible to apply for 494.
For the 494 visa, you need to have at least 3 years full-time work experience in the nominated occupation. So it needs to be 3 years full-time as a room leader only.
So it has to be as a room leader.
Yes.
He's saying that his wife has only 1 year.
If it's only 1 year, I suggest a DAMA, because for the room leader, for example, if they are in Queensland, I've seen in the Townsville DAMA list that they are accepting applicants for this occupation with only 1 year work experience. So if they cannot meet the usual requirement of the visa, maybe DAMA could be an option.
He said, okay, thanks.
Nice.
So Mohammed is finally saying, me, my wife, and my Yeah, me and my wife, we live in Saudi Arabia and we want to immigrate. So I would say he needs to book an appointment.
Yeah, because you have lots of visa options available for overseas applicants. So it depends on their age, their qualification, work experience, a lot of things to consider before we can suggest the best visa options for them.
So I'm just helping him.
Okay,
online.
thanks.
Let me just check Instagram, Nazreen. I don't think nothing new.
Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, great. If we will stay live for another 2 minutes, just to make sure there isn't any other questions.
We can advise if we want just booking appointments or fill out the assistance form. We will get the assistance link as well.
Yeah, we will put here the link for booking the appointment online or for filling out our free assessment form. You can complete the online form and we will be able to assess if you are eligible to apply for a visa.
Link.
Olivia just shared the link for you on Facebook.
And we send them by video link, the recorded webinar to their emails.
If you have subscribed to our website and you are on our email list, you will also receive a copy of the records for this seminar in your email. Yeah.
John is asking if you think that the government may change the requirements in view of all these staff shortage.
Yes.
Do you think childcare requirements may change? He's asking your opinion.
They have not announced anything yet about changing the rules. Not for now. We don't have, but we will let you know if there is any news about changing the rules and regulations. For now, they only changed for the DAMA in regional and remote areas. Yeah.
No worries, John, that's your answer. And Mohammed to say thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining us today. And we will be having another webinar about the employer-sponsored visas. And if you have any question, you can just ask here. You can ask on our Facebook page, Instagram, or put in the comments, and we will answer in the next webinar. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.